It's a horrifying thought for any community. Imagine a serial rapist targeting your town.
Some women say that's exactly what happened where they live, and believe it or not, it gets even scarier. The victims say a Wisconsin police officer knew all about it.
In fact, they say it's the cop who terrorized the town. How is that possible?
Fox 6 investigator Bob Siegel has the story, and again, it's one you probably don't want your children to see.
It's just on the other side of the state. But it's a world away from the hustle and bustle of Wisconsin's big cities. This is Whitehall. The population is actually a little less than that, now that one of the town's most well-known residents is living somewhere else. Daniel Wineski is in prison. His crime? Sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl in his squad car. This Whitehall police officer was on duty when he forced the girl to perform oral sex and later threatened her with his gun to make sure she'd never tell. Sending Wineski to prison isn't where this story ends. It's just the beginning.
He is just the scum of the earth. He should be locked away and never be released again.
Laura Traenberg can tell you all about Dan Wineski.
He destroyed my life in one night.
Laura says Wineski raped her when she was 16 years old. She had just gotten her driver's license and was driving through Whitehall late at night.
I remember seeing the siren and, the red and blue light, so I pulled over. He handcuffed me. Then he just started kissing me. His hands were going up my bra. His hands were, going up my vagina, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna die. He's gonna kill me.
Laura says the assault ended when Officer Wineski got a call on his police radio.
And I remember him going to his car and saying, okay, I have to go. Then he took the handcuffs off me, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to get out of here.
She got in her car and started driving. But as Laura headed out of town, she says Wineski stopped her again. And this time, he told her to drive down a dark country road.
He raped me the second time. He raped me outside. I remember laying on the ground in the road.
What happened that night would stay a secret for decades. Laura didn't even tell her husband until last spring. That's when she learned Dan Wineski had been arrested for sexually assaulting another teenager. All her memories came rushing back, and Laura told the secret she had kept inside for 23 years.
I was ashamed, scared. I thought, who's going to believe a 16-year-old coming up with this story, about a police officer? I thought I was the only one.
Laura was not the only one. Fox 6 has obtained hundreds of pages of investigation reports from the Wisconsin Department of Justice. These reports claim Wineski had sexual contact with lots of teenagers during his 25-year career as a Whitehall police officer. The reports include women who say they were still in high school when the on-duty police officer kissed, fondled, and groped them during traffic stops at City Hall and inside the police station. A store clerk told investigators Wineski was in uniform when he came into this gas station, unzipped his pants, and began to masturbate in front of her. Another woman says Wineski held her down and choked her while he raped her in his car. A former babysitter says the police officer forced her to perform oral sex at gunpoint when she was 15 years old. And detectives talked to another woman who says Wineski exposed himself and fondled her starting when she was just 11. Those are only some of the allegations detailed in state documents. In a small town like Whitehall, Wisconsin, how could all this be kept a secret? How could a police officer allegedly commit so many crimes over such a long period of time without anyone knowing about it? Well, the truth is, it wasn't a secret at all. When state investigators started their interviews in the Wineski case, dozens of people admitted hearing rumors about the officer and young girls. Those rumors made it all the way back to the police station. This Whitehall cop told investigators what two women had told him, that Wineski asked the ladies to take off their clothes or to meet him for sex, and it happened while Wineski was on duty. Paul Larson told the women to file a formal complaint. They did not, but Larson says he gave some of the information to the police chief. And get this, another Whitehall cop admitted he was with Wineski in his squad car while Wineski spied on women with binoculars. The co-worker said Wineski would stake out bathroom and bedroom windows so he could watch the women undress late at night. That same officer told investigators he was positive the police chief knew about rumors surrounding Dan Wineski. And when those rumors would come up, he said the chief responded, "That's Dan." So just how much did the police chief know? I went to his house to find out.
Hi.
Hi, Larry.
Yes, I am.
I'm Bob Siegel with Fox 6 News in Milwaukee. How are you? Larry Estenson is home because he retired as Whitehall's police chief. He stepped down just a few months ago. The former chief did not want to talk with me.
Okay, I'd rather not. I've got really nothing to say.
But Estenson did talk to state investigators. He admitted hearing rumors about Wineski's sexual activity as far back as the early 80s. The chief also admitted he had heard Wineski was caught masturbating at the gas station, but the chief said he never asked Wineski about the incident. Estenson insists, despite all the rumors swirling around the police station, no one ever filed a formal complaint against Dan Wineski.
If they don't complain to anybody, you don't have anything.
Lennis Berg is a friend of the chief's, and he's a former sheriff's deputy who worked in Whitehall.
Here, maybe a rumor, a hearsay or something, so you think nothing of it.
Berg says he also heard rumors about Wineski, and he says the chief was right not to investigate those rumors.
We let things just slide through our minds. We hear things like that, we just let it slide because it's a rumor. There's things that you hear that you don't hear. You just blank it out.
When it's something as potentially serious as a police officer sexually assaulting a minor, is that something that people should just not hear and blank out?
How far do you follow a rumor and how far can you push it before you're going to get yourself into trouble if it's nothing that's valid there?
But at least some of the information was valid, and the Whitehall Police Department did nothing to investigate. State and federal authorities didn't do much either.
I sent them very detailed information.
Terry Miles grew up in Whitehall. After several women told him that Wineski had assaulted them, Miles wrote detailed citizen complaints. He sent these letters to the Wisconsin Department of Justice and the FBI. That was in 2001. But the Department of Justice did not open its Dan Wineski investigation for 3 years, and the FBI didn't investigate him at all.
They had enough information to come up here and arrest him years ago.
Does anyone know just how many victims there are?
No. I doubt if Wineski knows.
I think it was a complete cover-up.
This victim is still trying to make sense of what happened 24 years ago.
When you're assaulted, it changes who you are. It changes your life totally. I thought about suicide. All I wanted to do was die.
Laura is now trying to put all that behind her. Now that a bad cop is behind bars, Laura says she wants to finish her childhood.
I'm starting to enjoy life now. And, you know, like the saying goes, life begins at 40. It's true.
Dan Wineski is serving 7 years in state prison, 5 years for sexual assault, and 2 more for misconduct in office. He declined our request for an interview. Whitehall now has a new police chief, and he has a new accountability contract for all members of the department. The chief tells me he'll investigate all allegations of police misconduct, even those that could be rumors. I'm Bob Siegel, Fox 6 News.
All right, Bob, thank you. One more note here. The Attorney General's office says it will not file charges against Dan Wineski in connection with any of the other allegations. That's because in each case, the statute of limitations has expired.